I got tired of sitting in committee meetings at school and saying, well, we can't do anything. Look at the parents. And I thought, well, what if we could? Have you ever thought this parenting thing's kind of hard? Raise your hand if you've ever gotten in an argument with a child. If we cover anything today, would it be worth your while if we kind of learned maybe a way to never argue with kids again? Would that be worth your time? Kick back, relax, have some fun. Sound all right? All right. Love and Logic was really a lifesaver for me when I first started teaching. And we got married, my wife and I got married, we moved out west and didn't know a soul, right? And it was kind of sink or swim. And I remember I made my own business cards on a printer, the perforation, and I'm passing out business cards as a substitute teacher. And the very first day of school in Portland, I get this call for a long-term sub job. And I will never forget, it was Centennial High School, big staircase, like the Rocky staircase, where he's running and doing that thing. And I walked up the staircase, and a guy greeted me at the door. And I thought, he knew I was coming. Chris from Wisconsin, right? 23 years old. And he said, give me your backpack. I'm like, he's going to help me with my things. And he put it on this conveyor belt. I'm like, wait a second. And he started wanding me. I'm like, this is very different than the schools I was used to in Wisconsin. It was short order, and I understood what was happening. I said, well, thank you. He's like, have a good day. Keep your head down. I'm like, okay, all right. So now I'm getting I'm shifting my mindset a little bit. I walk in. They give me the key. I actually had to wait. I got a key. I'm on the top floor, far corner. I've keyed in. And I'll never forget the sound the door made, because it was one of those single panes of glass, single, wood style type thing, old squeaky door. I opened the door, and you know what the old schools smell like that very first day, right? And I walked in, and on the desk are 3 sticky notes. Not even the big ones, just the little ones. 3 sticky notes. My long-term sub job was 3 days. 1 sticky note said, show this video. This is the first day of school. The 2nd sticky note, give this test. The 3rd sticky note, I don't remember, and honestly, I don't remember if I ever went back. Because what happened was very impactful on my teaching career, and I know that I'm glad that it happened when I was young, because it was a very big eye-opener from growing up in rural northwest Wisconsin. And so kids are coming in, and I noticed some of these kids seem really old. I have no idea what my content is. I don't even know what class this is. Haven't figured it out yet. I saw a TV on a cart. That's about all that was in there, and 10 desks. So I'm going through the class roster, and I'm kind of having some fun with names. And I'm like, hey, welcome, Joe, and welcome, Eric, welcome, Tommy. And I'll never forget, I get to this name, and it's Angel Grajeda. And I'm like, Angel, right? Kind of having fun because we're starting to giggle and break the ice. And as soon as I said his name, ironically, everyone kind of slumped in their desk. I'm like, whoa, what's up with Angel? And they're like, yeah, we haven't seen him since sophomore year. Shortly after that, the door burst open. Remember that single pane of glass? That sound I'll never forget. And it opened up, and I know big people, right? I know big people because I've coached a little bit of college football, and there was this kid in the door, and he filled the doorway. And he had to do one of these to kind of get under. I didn't know it at the time, but this kid had the brim of his hat just right? He had at that point in time, he had the sweatpant leg up just to the right height. He was all tatted up. He had the bandana around his leg. And mistakenly, I looked at him and I said, Angel, you're late. And he smiled at me. And he had a really nice word. It rhymes with duck, but it starts with F. And finished it with you, right? And I'm pointing at him like this. Right? I was kind of raised with this tool. Was anyone else raised with this tool? March to your room, get out to the barn, go sweep the floor, right? Stop talking, and you just kind of follow the stick, right? And I went right up to him, and I said, hey, good start, right? You can't talk to me like that. And I looking up at him, and I remember he took his hand, and he just kind of put my hand down, and I'm like, and he's just like, and he leans in, and he goes, you say another word, and I'll slit your throat. And I'm like, this guy's serious. So in a moment of clarity, he left, and what did I do? Needing to get the last word in, I take a few steps further towards the door, because I am not going to let him what? Win. Major mistake. Thankfully you're here, there's a little young lady there, and I'm walking, I'm like, hey, and I start with hey, and he's walking through the door now. And she goes, don't do it. And I turned and looked at her with zero skills left. And I looked at this 17-year-old girl, and I said, what do I do? Right? First teaching job. And she said, call the office. And the kid that hasn't said anything speaks up. He's like, no phones, cords, choking hazard. Oh. Everything's starting to mash, right? You know this situation, you've heard of these, I lived it. I went back to my friend. I said, listen, I need you to go to the office. I don't think Angel should be here. He seems angry. Would you do that? And she goes, sure. And as she's walking out the door, and I'm like, and will you come back? Because I really need this job. In the matter of 45 minutes, I went from, they're greeting me at the door. I know how to teach, to, I don't know what to do. Come back, I need this job, right? Have you ever been in a situation like that parenting? Where you're like, all right, I know what I'm going to do. Kid didn't mow the lawn. I got a plan. 5 seconds later, you're yelling, and you're like, I don't know what to do. Tell me what to do. You're calling your spouse. All right, it's pretty easy to have people push our buttons. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And honestly, I don't know what happened. I don't know if I went back. But I do know that I went home, I think that night, and there was this guy talking on public radio, or public TV. And at the end, he said, if you like these thoughts and ideas, this isn't my stuff. This is Jim Fay from the Love and Logic Institute. And I remember I just dove into it. And that was 1999. And it probably, I can think of another time that a kid brought a bottle of Jack Daniels and a 10-inch Bowie knife to my class. I handled it better than, hey, right? I was way more skilled. And that was just a couple years later. We know that we need to have 5,000 episodes of quality practice in order to master a skill, a psychomotor skill, right? Hitting a ball, hitting a golf ball, you like to golf, pitching, right? Swimming, 5,000 repetitions. And it's my belief that the same thing is true with making good and healthy decisions and learning ways to kind of get your butt out of those sticky situations. And, you know, we do it out of love, and we rescue our kids, and we help when maybe we don't necessarily need to always help, right? So I like this concept of allowing kids to make mistakes when the costs are small, so that when the costs are huge, they have thousands of repetitions to be like, I can navigate this. I got this, right? It's okay. And it can start really young. I remember when Bree and Grace were playing downstairs, and it was like angels playing harps. It was beautiful. They're playing. I'm like, oh, there's no arguments. It's awesome. And I hear things escalating. Have you ever noticed that? And you can just feel your breathing kind of tense. And your breathing quickens, and you're like, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to parent. Because becoming a father is easy. Parenting is tough, right? Because it's a verb. I'm gonna have to do something. And all of a sudden it escalated, and I heard a door slam, and I heard like 4-year-old feet come up the steps. And I'm in the kitchen slaving away at something, making tomato sauce, actually I was. It was August, and I'm grinding up tomatoes. I like to cook. And so I'm cooking, and I hear, Daddy, and I turned around. First, I took a deep breath. right? And I'm like, I turned around and I got down low. And was my voice big or small? Small, right? And was my face, was I smiling or frowning? Kind of grinning. And I said, sweetie, I listen to big girl voices. She turned around. She went like this. Now, this might be an exaggeration, but this is how it felt. Father, Gracie's being mean to me. Willst you come downstairs and help your youngest daughter? But that's what it felt like. It was probably something like, Dad, I'm mad. Gracie's being mean. And I bet I went into something like, oh, that's so hard. That's frustrating. And what do you think you're going to do? And she probably said something like, well, I'm telling you. Well, do you want to hear what some kids have tried? And you have a handout. Where's that one? Guiding kids to solve their own problems. Great 5-step process there. And that's another technique that we'll learn later on in the full class. And how to go brain dead, right? If our kids can go brain dead, shouldn't we? So let's look at 3 parenting styles. And I'll ask you which one is which, okay? We didn't practice this? No. All right. Look at, here comes Billy on the motorcycle. Wow. Woo! That's coming at you pretty fast, isn't it? Yeah, literally. Well, hold on a second. We're going to have to ask some questions first. And here's your helmet, right? We're going to put this helmet on. And now, do you have plans on if he touches you, right? You're going to.
I'm going to be.
Well, but you know that's safety. So, have a good time. Be respectful. And when are you supposed to be home? You know what? I'll call you and text you just to make sure you get here on time.
We'll be on the bike, though.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Well, if you could just stop every mile and a half and just make sure if that would be all right. You know, how about this? I'll have Mom follow you just to make sure everything will be all right. And where are you going first? We'll be there with a snack and water, okay? We'll be there with a snack and water because, you know, when you're motorcycling and it's hot. And it's have you put on sunscreen today?
No,
Which parenting style am I trying to be? Helicopter parent. It's done with love, right? It's done with love. But I'm sending the message to my 15-year-old that what?
You don't trust me.
I don't trust you. Not only don't I trust you, you just can't do this thing called life.
Yeah, I'm 15.
But don't worry. Dad's here, right? Dad's here, and I'll flatten the roads for you. Right? It'll be okay. Hey, Devin, do you see that coming down?
Science project.
Yeah. Does that look like the one that you failed last week?
No.
You ever say things like that, kind of backhanded comments?
Jeez, Dad.
I know, yeah. Hey, but listen, that's an important project, isn't it?
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
it.
and what was the grade you got last time?
I mean, I'm not going to do it this time.
Yeah, is this another group project?
Yeah.
Hey,
but
your mom and I we're sick and tired of all of these projects. I'm on the phone with your teachers constantly.
I'm capable
Hey,
this
look
time.
at life. It's right here. It's coming at you quick.
Got it.
Hey, listen. Now stop looking at me. And what is your plan? Do you have a plan?
I'll figure it out.
This makes me nervous. What style is that? Drill sergeant. What message am I sending? Do what I say, not as I do. And also what?
Your ways are your way.
You can't figure this out. But don't worry, I'll tell you when to do it, how to do it. And when you screw up, I'll love you so much to tell you how you screwed up. And then there's kind of the combo parent, right? Hey, look at life. Hey, now get there, right? You can get... But this is the last time I'm going to help you with this project, right? And we call that the rant and rescue, right? Get it in. All right, but this is the last time I'm going to bail you out. And I mean it. Right? You were. Des is drill sergeant. But Love and Logic asks us to kind of guides us to be what we call being a consultant. So let's look at that one for me. And we haven't practiced, but I think we're doing okay, right? We could go on the road or something. Hey, Devin, look. Life coming at you.
Is it Billy or the science project?
That's an amazing science project. Does that look familiar to you? Yeah. Yeah. What do you think you're going to do about that?
Well, I'm the leader of this project.
So it's a group.
Actually,
It's a group
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Who's on your group? Tell me about that.
I've got Frank and I've got Sally.
Yeah. Sally, she seems pretty nice
Yeah,
too.
she's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your plan to get it done? Is this like a quick one or one of those long, drawn out things?
So it's a little bit of both. I don't really like the long, drawn-out stuff. I'm usually super fly by the seat of my pants.
Yeah,
So luckily, Sally's a lot better at organization that way. So.
Isn't it fun to have members of the team like that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
where you can be like, probably, I know you to be creative, and they'll probably tap into that, and Sally's going to be kind of like, all right. So it sounds like you have a timeline.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we're figuring it
cool.
out.
How do you-
some ideas that are helping me put them together.
How do you think that's going to work out?
Oh, great.
Awesome, awesome. Hey, if you have any questions or you need help, if you feel comfortable, talk to me.
Yeah. I actually need some money for some of the supplies.
Yeah. Those are great questions for your mom. Yeah, your mom loves those questions. But let's touch base on this. And hey, when it's done, will you let me? Will you show it to me?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sure. That would
Awesome.
be fine. Also, Billy's going to be coming to pick me up later too. So.
And you know what our rules are for motorcycles.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks. Yeah. All right. Time out. Which one's that? Consultant. Right? How did that feel?
Like I was a person and you valued my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
You valued, you believed in me that I could do this. And it made me feel like, all right, I got this.
Yeah. Right? What did you notice from me? Calm. I started to physically move away, right? See, Love and Logic parents, we don't stand in the way of life. Unless it's life or death. You know, if it's life or limb, we step in. You know, if your 2-year-old's darting into a cactus plantation, you don't be like, well, I'll be interested to see how this turns out. But if the mistake is small enough for your value system, if the mistake is small enough, allow them to make those mistakes when the costs are small, right? And then we lock in the learning with empathy, not anger and frustration.
And then you wanting to see it in the end instead of.
Yeah, and I physically moved away, right? I physically moved. And and that allowed you to own. I know it.
Like, wait, I'm not done talking.
Think about this for a second. Imagine it's Christmas. Okay? It's a ways away, but we're not too far away. And it's Christmas, and on December 12th or 13th, I'm not good at math, but the first day of the 12 days of Christmas, and we get a bike. Right? We get a bike for our middle child. Let's just pretend that. Can you picture that? And you wrap that bike up. By the way, can you wrap a bike up and make it not look like a bike? No, you can't, can you? Right? Unless it's still in the box, right? A lot of bikes come pre-assembled, and you wrap this bike and you put it by the tree. Well, how long does it take until the kids notice? Instantly. How long until they know what the bike is and who it's probably for? Right? They're measuring the tires, right? They're shaking it. Oh, it's got a bell. It's for Sarah, right? Or something like that. They might even be so privy to the concept of bike smells. Have you noticed this? They're like, ooh, Farm and Fleet. Must be a Huffy, right? Could be a Huffy. And you leave that bike there. And they're asking questions, and they're studying it, and you might even see a couple holes poked into it. And then on Christmas morning, maybe this happens in your house. Christmas morning, you roll out 8:30, grab a cup of coffee, and your kids are sitting there. No, go back to bed. It's okay, we'll wait. They're holding hands, singing carols. Does that happen? Wouldn't that be cool? 8:30, right? We've already had our second breakfast, I think. And you march down to that Christmas tree and you grab that bike. You kick open the door, you wheel it out, and you throw it into the dumpster. Would you do that? Why wouldn't we do that? Money?
I was thinking to build up the anticipation of getting the bike and knew what it was the whole time.
Right.
Ripping it away from
Let me just cut to it's mean. That's terrible. That's rotten. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't walk down and steal that gift from your children, would you? When we slip up and choose to get angry and frustrated with kids, we steal that gift of learning. Because they're not mad now about the ball going through the window, or knocking the Christmas tree over, or spilling the milk, or accidentally, putting lipstick on a Labrador. They're not angry about that anymore. They're just angry that mom's yelling at them. They're angry that dad's hollering at them. And we rob that gift of learning, right? You hearing that? Right? We wouldn't steal that bike from their Christmas tree, right? From their Christmas morning. We wouldn't steal that gift. So I just encourage, and this is as preachy as I'm going to get, let's stop yelling at young people. And if anything, you feel better at the end of the day.